Very good evening to everyone. We are here with yet another session. And today's session is a very new session for me and for all the students because I did not heard the term about lactational profession. So today's speaker will be the newly introduced to all of you and all of us to learn something very new. She is Yashika Bhavsar and she have completed MSc, PHN and FN and she is certified lactational professional. She is having 3.5 years field of experience in the nutrition health mobilizer and she has worked with the Anganwadi workers to handle the teaching methods in the fields where it is not properly educated to make the awareness. And she have started their own venture in April 2020 and that venture is nutrihoodwithpenny.com. You all can visit and she will explain her work very well. So I hope with this small introduction, if I miss anything, you can add on to. Thank you so much, ma'am, to come on our platform.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this platform. I'm so grateful to come here and talk to your students. So I will quickly share my screen and we'll start this session. I
Sure,
think
ma'am.
you have to make me able to share my screen.
You can share, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I have been working as in the introduction it is said that I have been working with the Anganwadi centers and and I have also done teaching for last 2 years. So basically, my work was with women only, and thus my venture was on maternal and child nutrition. And for the cherry on the top, we have added lactation into it, as well as we have added parenting. So we have another team member. She is working as a parenting expert with us. So this idea was there in my mind, but I was waiting for a correct time and an experience. So an experience, my personal experience is when I got pregnant and when I had a child. So my child became my inspiration to start my own venture, and I had to take leave. But then I am very positive towards that because of him I was able to start my own venture. So on that note, I'm going to start this session. So this topic is very close to my heart, and I will try to give my 100% to explain to the students and make this point very clear in the students mind. So moving on, I will start with a very basic thing. So nutrition and nutrients. So before actually going on to that topic, I would like to introduce to these two terms, nutrition. So it is basically, nutrition is basically the science of food. Okay, so whatever we eat from food, they have nutrients and other substance in it. So their interactions, their actions, their balance and the relationship to health and disease. So that is what is known as nutrition. And the nutrients are the components of the food that are present. And when we eat the food, we get the nutrients. Now, this is known worldwide that there are the nutrients has been classified into two major groups: macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are carbohydrate, fats and proteins, and micronutrients are minerals, all the minerals and vitamins. So moving forward to the exact topic. Okay, so this is the cycle. I love this cycle, and this is the cycle I use in every my webinar and every my lecture which I give to women, to mother, or surrounding to this topic. So this cycle tells you about the journey of a person right from birth, that is neonatal, to infancy, to preschool, to school age, to adolescent, adulthood, and then aging. Okay, so this is the life cycle which we undergo throughout our life. And if you can see over here, the gaps. Okay, the space is available over here. So according to me, or what I call this space is an opportunity. Okay, as a nutritionist or dietitian, for me, this is an opportunity. Now, how is this an opportunity for me? I am going to explain with a beautiful example, and that example is of myself. Okay, so when I was neonate, my infancy, my preschool, my school age years, and to some extent my adolescence was in undernutrition. Okay, I had to visit pediatrician for XYZ infection almost in 30 or 45 days. Okay, so say it is like 30 in 1 month or in 45 days. So which means the infection rate at these age groups were so high in me that I was undernourished. There was no chance for my body to maintain the nutrients in and have a healthy life, even though I was eating. And during this time, because we are so young, even if we feel low or we are sick, we tend to lose our appetite. Okay, we don't like to eat, and even though in the adulthood that same thing happens. Okay, so neo at this is the very crucial age. This time, if the child is sick, the child will stop having nutrition. The child will stop having or eating food. So I was in the undernutrition. I was surrounded with a lot of infection during this whole year till adolescence. Then gradually in the adolescence, when the maturity, like mind maturity, was to some extent I have achieved, I started eating good, but that too, it was not up to the mark. And then after 18 years, when I went into my graduation thing, so there I chose foods and nutrition. So during the course of my graduation and post graduation, I came to know the importance of this cycle, the nutrition that plays a role in our life, and what needs to be done. Thus, at that point of time, I have decided that in my preconception and pregnancy, I will do utmost care of myself so that I can break the cycle of undernutrition, malnutrition, and I don't want that infection or that cycle to continue to my son, okay, or whosoever I'm going to deliver. So I have a son. So that was my main aim at this point of time when I got married and I was in the preconception age. So I did preconception care for at least 2 years, and then I got pregnant. I continued that care during my pregnancy, and trust me, I was able to break that cycle. My child is 18 months old, and he is not having that sort of infection, or he is having a healthy life. I have introduced him. What I have learned tried to implement on him, and trust me, it helped me, okay, to break the cycle. So these gaps for me are an opportunity. Okay, now I am working from childhood, like maternal child nutrition. So I am working from neonate till adulthood, and I am working with mothers. Okay, I have clients till 35-40 years. I'm not right now focusing on the menopausal woman because my focus area is so long. So many people are covered in my focus area. So right now I want to gain my experience in this era only. So whenever I get child over here, I have an opportunity. If the child is suffering from so and so disease or so and so infection, frequently I have a chance that his or her infancy should be better. And if I get the chance, so all these gaps are an opportunity for me. And trust me, I'm getting so many children and infant in preschool over here, and I try to break the cycle so that it does not continue till the child is adult or old age, okay, aging. So this is what I explained to all my listeners, that this cycle is very important, and I make sure that I use this example, and I don't use any other's example. I use my own example because if I can do, anyone can do. Okay, you don't have to study foods and nutrition. If you have a support of a nutritionist or dietitian, she is definitely going to help you in breaking the cycle to some extent. Okay, so moving forward. Okay, so coming back to our topic, we'll shift our thing from the cycle. Developmental changes during adulthood. Now, there are two types of developmental changes that occur: is physiological and psychological. Now till now the body has attained the physical maturation. Now the body is mature in woman. Now she is perfectly fine. All the body has been all the parts has been developed perfectly. Physical ability, bone mass, muscles strength peaks during 18 to 30 years of age. So this is the age group which I want to focus, and I really focus on in my maternal and child nutrition. Now before 25 people are not married, but then I do focus on girls or women of this age group because I want to give a preconception care to them. Now, preconception care does not mean that you have to be married. Okay, it starts after your body is physically mature, and it starts after 18 years, because this is the time the girls are going for their studies and they indulge into unhealthy eating pattern. Okay, and after some time they go for work, and thus this is the age group I focus and I work on. Then psychological development. Now the emotional stability has been achieved as at this age. Okay, we are not the adolescent or teenager, or we don't have mood swings as of now. So emotional stability. So if I work with this age group, they are emotionally stable. They, if I explain them that they have to eat mindfully, then they will be able to understand what I am talking about. So emotional stability is also achieved by around this age group. Okay, so that is why it is classified as adulthood. Now moving on towards what is RDA. Okay, now as a nutritionist and a dietitian, we always our journey or our life surrounds on around this. Okay, RDA, it's recommended dietary allowances. So they are the set standards by set standards for the quantities of major nutrients that we have to take from food to to live a healthy life. Okay, to meet our physiological needs of the body. Now RDA is different. It is categorized by age, gender, physical activity pattern, and physiological status. Okay, so the groups are infants, preschool, children, adolescent, adult men, adult women, pregnant, and lactating mothers. Lactating mothers are breastfeeding mothers. So if you go back to that cycle, those same groups are listed over here. So we have different RDA for infants, we have different RDA for preschoolers, we have different RDA for children, as accordingly to of the for the other groups. Okay, so because we are talking about women today, so this is the RDA for women. Now if you can see that they have been categorized as per their work. So sedentary, moderate, heavy. Now all of us, like maximum population, students, if they are working in the corporate sector, or if they are having a table and desk job, even though if they are having a field job, but the field job is for like 4-5 hours, then too they are classified in the sedentary work. So if you see that the calorie intake over here is just 1600. Okay, the calorie we have to take is just 1600 in the sedentary. Moderate, it is around 2000 calories. And for heavy, moderate workers are the house help, which we are having. The house help women are categorized in the moderate, and heavy work, those who are working at the construction site, so they are classified in the heavy work. We also have the subcategory of pregnant woman and lactating mother. So the protein intake, if we take over here, so the protein intake is common for all these category of work. But if we say that in pregnant woman we have to take 46 plus 9.5 grams of protein per day in the second trimester. So there is nothing you have to increase in the first trimester, and there is a myth that the pregnant woman needs to eat for 2. No, the pregnant woman needs to just increase 350 calories and nothing more than that, and that too not in the first trimester. Okay, the first trimester is you can increase around 100 calories or so, and not more than that, but there is a myth that you have to eat for 2. Okay, and in later the third trimester the protein intake increases, because this is the time where the baby's body is storing all the nutrients in his or her body. So similarly, there is a protein intake for lactation. It is different for 0 to 6 months of infant. It is different, and 7 to 12 months it is different. Similarly, the fiber intake is here, written over here: calcium, magnesium, iron, XYZ. So all the nutrients are listed over here. If we talk about the average total percentage of fat and carbohydrates, so these are in percentage. Okay, so total fat adults needs to take on an average, like if they are sedentary, then we have to keep it on the lower side, like 15% of total energy they are taking, and for carbohydrate it should be 45%. So in terms of carbohydrates, we can consume around 100 to 130 grams of carbohydrates, and for fat it is 20 grams is fine. Okay, not more than that. If we are taking more, then we are going into the overnutrition zone. We are not maintaining the balance. Okay, so yeah, this is what the main thing over here in maintaining the nutritional need in this era. Energy. Why we need energy? We need energy in maintaining body weight, temperature, metabolic activities, etc. Even though we are sleeping, the metabolic activity is continuously going on in our body, and there's some or the other reactions going in our body. So for that we need energy. Even though we are sleeping, our body is working. Okay, it is digesting food, and it is absorbing various nutrients which we have taken to our food. The breaking down is happening. So a lot of things is happening, and that requires energy. Okay, there's a biochemistry involved over here. And the simple formula we have to keep in mind is total daily energy expenditure should be is equal to the average energy intake, which means the amount of energy we are ingesting in our body through food or drink, that much amount of energy we have to expend. Okay, expenditure should be similar. Okay, nearby or something would be fine. But if we don't maintain the balance, what happens? If we are taking a lot of energy, and in comparison to that, we are not doing expenditure, we are not expending. Okay, so then it will lead our body to go into an overweight and obesity zone. Similarly, if we are eating less, our intake is less, our energy intake is less, and expenditure is more, then we will go into the undernutrition zone. So in any case, we have to maintain the balance. Now, to maintain the balance in a woman, we have to check that what is the average intake of that particular woman daily, and then we have to see that in which activity she is indulged, so how much she is doing expenditure. Okay, now moving on to the carbohydrates. Nowadays these is a culprit for everybody. You will see a lot many negative things for carbohydrates. If you want to lose weight, then cut down the carbs in your diet. And we are totally opposing that, because carbohydrates are relatively less expensive source of energy. See, as I have mentioned that we need energy for various metabolic functions in our body. So for that, we need carbohydrates. Okay, many of you will find that you need to eat proteins, and protein will help you in losing weight. Of course, it will help you in losing weight. But then protein, we have to spare our protein for providing energy. We want the protein to work on its own work. Okay, we don't want that the protein should be utilized to provide energy. Okay, we want our protein to be helpful in muscle building and the required work that protein is doing in our body. Okay, so for that we need to eat carbohydrates. And as I have mentioned that for healthy person, 100 grams or 100 grams to 130 grams is fine. You can have that much of carbohydrate. Plus, why we recommend carbohydrates is protein. In many of the vegetarian sources, they have protein is made up of amino acid, and there are essential and non-essential amino acids. Non-essential amino acids are made in our body. There is no need to take it from the food, but there are essential amino acids that needs to be taken from the food. Okay, so and if you mix, okay, if you mix the cereal and pulse, say for example, idli or dosa. Okay, so it is a combination of cereal and pulse, rice and urad dal. Okay, so what it will have, some of the amino acids are present in the rice and another one is present in the urad dal. So if we combine, it will become a combination, a good combination of the amino acids, and which will help in the protein, in making building the muscles, or in doing the activities done by the protein. Okay, so carbohydrate is there, and if you see carbohydrate, like 1 gram of carbohydrate will give us 4 kilocalories, and similarly protein will also give us 4 kilocalories. Okay, so the calorie given by both carbohydrate and protein are same. So that is why we have to spare the protein to do his own work, and to provide energy we have to use carbohydrate. So carbohydrate is not a culprit, and you can and you should take carbohydrates in a limited amount. Okay, so depending upon the person's body, depending upon the person's intake, we classify that this much of carbohydrates is coming from your, so in your whole day's diet, and this much you can take and this much you have to avoid. Okay, so moving on to the protein. They have a lot many functions. They are required for synthesis of new protein to replace. Because if we are working out, then the muscle, the breakdown happens over there, and then we want to rebuild the protein over there. So for that, and there are so many numerous functions protein is doing in our body. The main source of protein can be milk products, meat, egg, fish, plant products such as pulses and legumes. The vegetarian sources are pulses and legumes. And as I have mentioned, that the cereal pulse combination is good to go, to have both protein and carbohydrate and good quality of amino acids. Moving on to fats. Okay, now this is also a culprit over here. Dietary fats provide energy and essential fatty acids that serves as a vehicle for fat-soluble vitamin. Okay, we cannot eliminate fat from our diet because there are fat-soluble vitamins. Those need fat so that they can travel into our body and do their own function. Say, for example, if I talk about vitamin A is needed for our eyes. Correct. So if we will eliminate our diet from fat, completely from diet, it will go on the boiled thing. We'll eat just boiled vegetables and juices and all. We are not taking fat. Okay. So we need to take fat because we want our fat soluble. Vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. Okay, we need to use that. We need to have good vitamin D in our body. So that is why fat is needed. There are two types of fat. Visible fat and invisible fat. Visible fat are our oil, butter, ghee, and invisible fat are present. They are already present in our food. So they are present in milk, cereal, pulses, meats, etc. Okay. So when we talk about restricting fat, we are in any ways taking some amount of fat if we are taking meat, milk, and cereal and pulse. But if we will eliminate these things, we are not taking the invisible fat also. Okay, plus we are not taking the visible fat. We are not taking vegetable oils, ghee or butter, etc. So we don't have to eliminate the fat, and the fat intake should be based on the physical activity of the person, which ranges from 20 grams to 40 grams. So as I have mentioned that we can have 15%. So on an average 20 grams of fat we can have. So 20 grams, if we say that 1 teaspoon, if we add in our diet, or if if the meal preparation, it gives us the 5 grams is equivalent to 1 teaspoon. So if we can take up to 4 to 5 spoons in a day to attain this 20 grams of fat. Okay, and this is visible fat. Okay, in any case, we are taking some amount of invisible fat also. Okay, now this is the new aspect included in this new RDA 2020. Because I have also observed that many of my customers were having constipation issues, gut health issues, diarrhea episodes. So this is what will help in maintaining the body. Yes, of course, it will also help in maintaining the body weight, composition and lowering the blood sugar level. I have also found that the age group we are talking about, 18 to 30 years, they are into ready to consume food or they are into fast food. So they tend to have higher blood glucose in fasting and after 2 hours of meal. A little bit of higher, they are not classified as diabetes, but then it is high. So we classify as a pre-diabetic state. So dietary fiber helps in lowering the blood sugar level, also triglycerides and cholesterol level also, because we are indulged into eating high fat foods. The triglycerides and cholesterol will be definitely high, and we have to reduce that with addition of this dietary fiber. And of course, our gut health, we have to focus. If our gut will be healthy, our body weight will be healthy. Okay, we will not have so many other problems if our gut will be healthy. Okay. This is the definition that they are the edible parts of the plants which resist themselves to digestion and absorption in the small intestine. So they will create a bulk, and what they will do is they go directly to the large intestine and they complete or they partially ferment themselves with all the microorganisms present in the gut. And what they will do is they try to take out or they try to attract the bad particles in your intestines, in your gut, and then they become bulk and they will be removed off in the feces. Okay, so that is why we have to take dietary fiber in it, and it is recommended that 30 grams for 2000 calories is recommended. So for a woman, if she is taking 1600 calories, then we can say that 15 to 20 to 22 grams of fiber is needed. Now, how can you take this fiber? You can easily take this fiber with adding a green leafy vegetable, your leafy vegetable. You add any vegetable, you add add your vegetable into a different recipe. You try your hands into different recipes. You add your like the spices into it. Have pulses, have fruits, and that will suffice the recommendation level. Okay, now minerals. Okay, now there are so many minerals over here. Calcium, we all know it is needed for bones, and I will not talk much over here, but the sources are milk, ragi, kidney beans, soya beans, GLBs. Okay, so through GLBs we can also get calcium. Iron. Okay, so now this is a very deep topic. It will take one more hour if we go on this topic. But the iron, people are women, especially in India, are anemic. Okay, say they are iron deficient. Okay, there are so many types of anemia, but then most specifically, women are iron deficient. Okay, because we are not taking good amount of iron rich foods, we go into the anemia zone, and then there are so many different consequences of being anemic. Okay, so we cannot be anemic. In India, there is a program going on, Anemia Mukt Bharat. Okay, and if we go to the website and if we go to the PDF, then you will see the number is so high. Okay, so many women, like more than 60 to 70% of women in India, whole India, are in this anemic state. Okay, so we need to, there is a program running, so we need to focus on our iron intake. Once you cross that 18 years, every 6 months, I recommend to go for a hemoglobin test to check your iron. If it is low, then you need to increase your iron-rich foods, which are animal foods. If you are vegetarian, then go for GLBs, pulse, nuts, whole cereals, and millets. But you need to, and if it is so deficient, then you need to go for 90 or 100 days medication. That needs to be done. if at all you are taking these food, but you are not taking enough vitamin C, okay, so vitamin C helps in iron absorption. Okay, so if you are taking this and still your iron is not up to the mark, you can try and increase vitamin C in your diet, and then check what happens in your hemoglobin status. And if still the levels are low, then you need to go for the other test, that what type of anemia is still present in your body. Then zinc, we have heard a lot for zinc, vitamin C in this corona situation, that we have to take vitamin C with zinc. Zinc plays integral role in many enzymes. Our body is having a lot of enzymes in it, and we need enzymes because as I have said that we undergo a metabolic reaction. So for that, for breaking down one component into another, we need enzymes. There are enzymes involved in it. Okay, and definitely that has to be done. So for that we need zinc also. Okay, now if you are eating healthy, if you are having animal products or milk or whole cereal, pulses and nuts, you are taking adequate amount of zinc in your diet. But if your diet is lagging in this, you are not taking good amount of zinc. Okay, now zinc is, its deficiency results in depressed immunity, as we have seen, diarrheal episodes, reproductive failure. So women of this age group, I strongly recommend that you should eat these sources to ensure that you are taking enough amount of zinc. Also, a new trend or a new diseases or problem or condition is ongoing is thyroid problem. Okay, I have seen that so many women which I have consulted in last 1 year are having thyroid problem. Okay, so the main reason over here is iodine. Okay, it is a mineral needed for the synthesis of thyroid hormone and other metabolic activities. Okay, so the easiest and the simplest source is iodized salt. Okay, you have to have iodized salt. Plus, you have to take care few things in your mind, that you have to add salt at the end of your meal. Like if your meal is cooked, and then you have to add at the end, because we put our meal for simmering or so. Okay, so in that, with the help of vapor, there are chances that iodine will be lost. Okay, so then our salt will become just sodium. It is not iodized anymore, and the requirement is so less that it is sufficed with the help of salt only. But then we need to change our cooking methods. We need to change, if we are boiling our foods, and we have to change it to pressure cooking. If we are using the method of like simmering and open simmering we are doing, but then we have to change our cooking method to cook pressure cooking, because pressure cooking, every nutrient will be intact, and then we can assure that iodine is not lost. Moving on to the fat soluble vitamins, water soluble vitamins, sorry. So there are B complex vitamins, and if your diet will be good, like if you will have GLBs, if you will have pulses, whole cereals and nuts, this will definitely be in your diet, and you will never be lagging in this nutrients. Plus, we have to also take care of the cooking. If we are boiling, then we have to use that water, because this is water soluble, it will leach out in the water. And another thing we have to take care over here is that we have to wash our vegetables and then cut, because what we do is we cut and we put those vegetables into the water and we drain off the water. So vitamins are also drained off. The important vitamin over here is folic acid. It has a direct connection to neutral tube defects and other complications during pregnancy. So thus, they play a very important role Now, folic acid and B vitamin are they work together. Okay, they work together. They are the component of several coenzymes, and B12, we can synthesize B12. Okay, we have microorganisms, but our gut health is not good. Then there might be a chances that the microorganisms which can synthesize B12 is lost. Okay, is dead or is lost. So the lady will go into a B12 deficiency, and thus B12 injections or tablets has to be ingested. Okay, but if you don't want to do that, you have to maintain a good gut health and include this in your diet. If you are vegetarian, then the only source available for you is milk. If you are non-vegetarian, then have your non-vegetarian foods, egg, meat, liver, etc. And you will be getting your B12 adequately. Fat soluble vitamins, as I have said that we need fat for this vitamin. A, D, E, K are the fat soluble vitamins. A is required for vision. The sources are we can take A in two form, pre form, which is known as retinol. It is present in animal foods, milk and beta carotene. With the help of these foods, to get converted into retinol and to get good amount of vitamin A. But if you are a non-vegetarian person, then you eat this also and you eat this also. Okay, animal foods and everything. You will have good amount. And we all know that vitamin A is required. They do have other metabolic functions, but majorly it is for your eyes. Okay, vitamin D, we all know that vitamin D deficiency was linked to corona, and yes, it is the simplest. We can easily get these vitamins through the sunlight. So expose yourself to sunlight, and then you will get good amount of vitamin D. Vitamin E is an antioxidant. Okay, it is an antioxidant. Now, what antioxidant is doing in our body? So antioxidant are catching the free radicals. Okay, as I have said that our body is undergoing metabolic reactions in our body. So there might be a chances that there is a free radical available in the body. And if there will be so much of free radicals, then they will find a space in our body, and then one free radical will will attract the another. Similarly, they will become a bunch of free radicals. Okay, so antioxidant, they will become a bunch of free radicals, and what they can do is they can become carcinogenic, and they can lead to tumors or cancers in our body. So the excellent source of vitamin E is our edible oil. So we need to take good amount of edible oil, that is fat. So good amount, which means that we only need, if we are sedentary worker, we only need 20 grams. So that 20 grams will suffice this antioxidant property via the fat we eat. Then vitamin K. Vitamin K is available to our body by the food we eat. So no such sources over here, because it is available to our body via whatever we eat. So not that dangerous, or we have to focus. But then vitamin K, the person is deficient in vitamin K, then the blood coagulation, if we are hurt and we want to coagulate our blood, so at that point of time, vitamin K plays an important role. So if we don't have a good amount of vitamin K, then the blood coagulation problem will be little late, or the more bleeding will happen. Okay, moving on to nutrition, optimal body weight management. So this all we have talked about energy, we have talked about macro and micronutrient. Okay, so if there is imbalance in all those things, all those nutrients, then our body will respond in the weight management. In the answer will be our weight management. Now, weight management can be, see, it is advisable that we attain the BMI 18 to 23 prior to conception. Okay, and in any case, if you are a mother, if you are adolescent, you have to maintain this BMI. BMI is body mass index. So this has been given by WHO. So we have to be between this BMI. Okay, now BMI is calculated weight upon height. Okay, so it is the comparison of your weight to your height. So if your BMI is above 23, you are overweight or obese. If you are overweight and obese, there are so many complications when you are trying to conceive or in any case. Okay, if you are overweight or obese, we are going to cover what all complications will you will face in your later life. So if we talk about overweight and obese women, if they are at the preconception age and if they are planning a baby, then there are chances that the baby will have neural tube defects, macrosomia, preterm delivery, stillbirth, gestational diabetes, hypertension, and so on. Then there is an undernutrition. If your BMI is less than 18, then also there is a problem. There is a preterm birth, low birth weight baby, and even if you are not pregnant or even if you are not planning, this is going to affect your hormonal balance and your reproductive system, your gut health, and so on. So that's what is recommended, that you have to maintain your weight into that 18 to 23 BMI. Okay, if you are anyway above or below, you are you are in a serious problem and you need to go to a healthy lifestyle. And yes, over here I would like to focus on these two terms, anorexia and nervosa. These are the eating disorder. Now, mostly this disorder occurs at the time of adolescence, where there is no emotional stability attained in girls and boys, wherein they eat and they vomit out. Okay, so they feel guilty of eating and then they vomit it out. So these are the eating disorder. But at this mature age, like after eating, we do not expect the person or the lady should have or must have this. Even if the lady is having, we need to work on the mind of that particular lady. Okay, so this is very much serious problem or condition we are facing in this era. I have so many clients with thyroid disease, and majority I am facing or I am having hypothyroidism clients. So it is a butterfly shaped gland over here in the neck, which secretes several hormone and thyroid hormones, and basically thyroxine they are involved in influencing metabolism, growth, development, and body temperature in our body. If thyroid is affected, your reproductive organs and your reproductive hormones will also be affected. So you need, if you have this condition, you need to fix this. Okay, so there are two types of thyroid, hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. Majority of the women are undergoing this hypothyroidism. Now, there are few do's and don'ts of hypothyroidism. You can eat eggs, meat, fish, vegetables, gluten-free, gluten-free grains, seeds, dairy products you can eat. You just have to avoid millets, highly processed foods such as hot dogs, cakes, cookies, soy-based products. Then this cruciferous vegetables, those as broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, spinach, that you have to avoid. Then certain fruits you have to avoid if you are hypothyroid. If you want to lower your thyroid, and if you want to go into the normal thyroid thing, this in all is a very huge topic, and I'm just touching upon this, and we cannot cover so much in this lecture. Another is hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is totally different. Over here, the things that has to be avoided in the hypothyroidism should be taken, because hyperthyroidism, there is a lot of iodine here in our body, and we have to lower it down. So we need this vegetable so that they will help somehow in lowering the hypothyroidism in our body. Then there are other vitamins and minerals that need to be taken in hypothyroidism. That is iron, selenium, zinc, calcium, and vitamin D, which I have talked about earlier. Yeah, so this I was talking about high blood sugar. So when a lady, a matured age group like 18 to 30 years is having ready to consume, ready to eat food or fast food or eating out a lot many times, so there can be a chance that the blood glucose level are slightly high compared to the normal. So what a high is I am talking about. So if the fasting of that particular person is anyway between 100 to 125, then they are having this high blood sugar level. And those people I categorize and we nutritionists categorize as a pre-diabetic state. Now, if not controlled, if this is not controlled, if the dietary modifications are not done, there are chances that the person will slide down in coming years into the diabetes zone. So this needs to be there. This needs to be taken care of. This is a very serious problem many women are facing, and many of my clients I recommend to go to have for fasting blood sugar, and 60% of them had slightly higher blood sugar levels. They were around 105 or 110 or 140, which is not good. Okay. Yes, another problem, PCOS and PCOD. Now, this 1 in 10 women have this problem. Okay. It is a syndrome. It is hormonal imbalance, reproductive and metabolic disorder. It is interconnected. There are so many things interconnected. And yes, women are facing this problem, and there are so many people having this PCOD and facing a lot many problems with this their hormonal thing. And so the only solution for this is go for healthy and go for the weight loss, or if even if you are underweight, then also you can get PCOD. Then you have to change the eating pattern and you have to work upon the gut health and the hormonal balance. So dietary modification, I would like to touch upon this, that what dietary modification woman of this mature age group needs to undergo is prefer whole cereal, pulse, millets. Millets are your ragi, jowar, bajra, and their products over refined grains. Refined grains are maida. Okay. Then processed foods we have to avoid. Then this is the second and the most important thing lady needs to undo for in this dietary modification is consumption of variety of fruits and vegetables. Include seasonal fruits, include seasonal vegetables in your diet. Try your hands in making different foods, healthy foods. Add your loved spices into it, and there are so many recipes available for the vegetables and fruits. Fruits, try to have as a whole fruit. Don't go for juices. If you want to go for juices, then don't add sugar in it. Okay, we don't want extra sugar to be ingested. Okay, choose low fat, protein rich food sources such as lean meats and fish over red meat. Okay, low fat dairy products. If you are overweight or obese, you can choose the low dairy products, low fat dairy product. Skim milk you can choose, but that to see, if you are choosing skim milk, that does not mean that you can take XYZ amount. No, that has to be in the moderation. Then what you have to do next is minimize your consumption of ready to use fast food, bakery products and processed food. If you are eating breads or buns, you have to shift it to your rotis or your different whole cereal, wheat roti or millet roti. So you have to shift from that bakery food products to your whole cereals. Then develop a taste for food low in salt. Okay. So gradually, this will happen gradually. What you can do is the amount you are adding in your food, reduce it to a slightly less or a pinch, and then develop a taste, because we don't want more sodium to be ingested, and restrict this pickles and salted biscuits in your diet. That is doing a lot more harm to your body. Then cooking methods that require less fat, like steaming, baking, roasting, should be preferred over deep frying and sauteing. So with this say, I have said that you have to take 20 grams in a day. So which means you can take only 4 to 5 teaspoons. Now, if you measure the teaspoon, it will be less, it will be so less. Then you will think that, oh my God, so less. How am I going to sort this vegetable? So then go for steaming, baking, and roasting. Okay, in roasting you will need a little bit of, and gradually when your mind is prepared for this dietary modification, that small amount will be enough for you if your mind will tell that it is enough. Okay, drink natural and fresh fruit juices without adding sugar instead of carbonated drinks. Avoid carbonated drinks. Those are giving you lot much of sugar, and we don't need sugar, that much of sugar, because what happens is, if we take a lot more amount of sugar, then it will, we don't need that much of sugar, so it will affect the insulin that is working, that is transporting the sugar to various body parts. Plus, if there will be lot of sugar available in our body, it will, because of no use, it will go and convert itself into fat. So we are depositing fat by drinking carbonated beverages. Yes, another important thing, exercise and physical activity. If you are normal, in the normal range, still you need to indulge yourself into 45 minutes of physical activity. Choose your physical activity, but do at least 5 days a week. If you want to reduce weight, then it is 60 minutes minimum, and that too, it should be moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity. Okay, so here I stop my talk, and now I am open for question and answer session. As it was introduced that we have a paid social media page and our website. If you want to have more information, you can go to this. And thank you so much. I am open for the questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So I'll have two questions.
Okay.
First, as your profile says, you have treated people in the professionals to take care of the lactational behavior. So
Yes.
what was the difficulty? Because as a nutritionist, what was the difficulty you found to teach first to Anganwadi workers in the proper way? Because that is the must scenario which will everywhere, like what we say, the less in the amount of nutrition to every children is facing in the India, mostly in the India. There are
Yes.
many diseases. So how
Yes,
you
yes.
tackle these kind of situations if we as a
Yes.
doctor want to come over that?
Yes, yes. Oh, so these Anganwadi workers are actually trained, but they get a limited amount of knowledge. So they try to convince by themselves to the community, and because they are from that community, so it becomes, see, they have to build a rapport. A new Anganwadi worker and a 10-year-old Anganwadi worker will have different impact. Okay, so what we used to do is, they were counseling since years, and what I used to do is, I used to give the correct in detail knowledge to her, and I was helping her that she can go and counsel the mothers. And it is rightly said that if some other expert will come and give lecture, the acceptability of that particular thing is more compared to the person we know and talking every day. Okay, so the Anganwadi worker were helpful with my thing, because they used to organize this meets of mothers, and they used to organize programs in their Anganwadi center. So they used to call me, and they used to ask me to speak on particular topic. So with the help of examples, there were so many people in that gatherings. Okay, so not every person will understand or will follow what I used to say, but then the beneficiaries which we were having at the Anganwadi center, I used to visit I try to visit as many beneficiaries as I can, and by visiting them, they used to have trust on me, and I used to be empathy. I have shown empathy to them, and I had by using the local language, by motivating the mother. See, we cannot say that you are not doing this. No, we have to be positive. We have to start in a positive way. So what I used to do is I used to uh, pinpoint the thing that the mother was actually doing, and maximum points I used to tell that you are doing a great job, you are doing a good job. So this is what you are doing, but in this thing you have to change. So if there was a problem in hygiene, maintaining the hygiene, so I used to counsel that mother that you are giving good nutrition to your child, but then you just have to focus this point and your child will be out of the infection, or your child will not get this infection later on. So that positivity in counseling and the local language and the support of the Anganwadi worker helped me to counsel many of the parents. Plus in breastfeeding also, breastfeeding is many people face a lot many problem in breastfeeding, and I used to visit them at their houses, and I literally used to help them position their baby, latch their baby, and then after a few years, like I have spent 4 years over there. So in my second or third visit, when they saw me again, they were like positive to accept me and accept my words. So they were trying to follow me. And yes, it was good to go. But yes, the Anganwadi worker played a really important role. So I had to build rapport with the Anganwadi worker also.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There is a personal doubt what I wanted to ask. Maybe it's all over that every student should have after watching your session. Uh, every student would think about something big. And as you have done very good in your field, but you have taken a particular topic, a
Yes.
lactational behavior. We all think that is very important. We all think this is very important, but taken that inspiration, like what was your first thought that this should be my career, this should be my career? So we want to understand that if we have some kind of thoughts, we can make it as our career
Yes.
in our life.
Yes, yes. So, see, for me, nutrition field is like jungle. Okay. Now you cannot explore everything. You cannot be expert in everything. So, because my initial experience was maternal child nutrition and lactation and breastfeeding, I really wanted to do something in that field only. So I have not touched upon the menopausal woman. I have not really touched about on the adolescent part as of now. My focus area is just this because I want to take experience, and in this field I want to understand what is going on in the general population. Plus I have a recent personal experience. I did preconception care, I was successful. I did pregnancy care, I was successful. Okay, I did lactation care, I was successful. So I have a confidence in me that if I can do, I can help other, and every other woman can do. Okay, so see, I have said that my child is my inspiration. Okay, because he supported me to implement all those knowledge in I have gained throughout the graduation and post graduation. He was so supportive and he is the inspiration. And thus, see, I am focusing on very limited age group, very limited group, and I'm happy because I want to be perfect in this. Okay, so this is how, because I have my work experience was in that area, and I have tried different things also. Like I have tried for menopausal women, I have tried, but I never felt happy to counsel them. I felt happy to counsel a lactating mother. I felt happy to counsel a mother of a child. So this is what happiness I got. So then I have calculated that how much amount of happiness I am getting from this area, and what type of happiness I am getting from the other. See, money is everywhere, but then I want to work for my happiness and my satisfaction. So I make sure that I help people, and money for me is a secondary thing. Okay, we all need money, we all want to grow, but then I love to help lactating mother. I love to help because I have gone through that feeling, because I have undergone that feeling. I have implemented everything which I had knowledge about. So I know the importance of those important days. So thus this makes me happy, and that is the reason I have chosen this topic, and I am going to definitely stick on this area only. I don't want to focus on any other thing.
That's our pleasure, ma'am. Like, we are so gratitude obliged to your talk and to your concept, to what you have bought in a very small 1 hour or 40 minutes. Because if you talk about a small macronutrients carbohydrate, it takes and still it's not complete. And you have taken whole concept to a small picture, and it was very great. And we are so grateful that we have connected to you. And if we it approaches to 10, 20, 30 students, and through you, through us, if it is approaches to many students, if they learn from this, our effort and your efforts, which are so nice to hear and all. So thank you so much, ma'am, to come on our platform. What would be your parting thoughts to everyone who is watching this session?
Yeah, I am grateful also, and thank you for calling me. And I have no words. Like, I'm just thankful that you have allowed me to talk to your students, and this is very nice.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So what would be your parting thoughts or concluding thoughts, those who will watch this session?
Yes, I would. I always recommend to my friends and family and everybody whosoever is going to build their career. So for students, you identify your happiness, okay, and explore things. See, I have also explored various area. Okay, I have explored diabetes counseling also. So try and error you have to do, like 6 7 years I have explored, and then I came to a point that no, I want to build my career in this only. So last year I formed this decision I took. So this is what I want to convey to the students, that see, you cannot do everything in your life. Focus on the thing that make you happy, and make that thing as your career. If you will make that thing as your career, then you will never feel stress of your work. Plus, the stress will never affect your health. So if no stress, you will live a healthy life. So choose your career, explore many things for 4 5 years, and then go to what you want to go and what you love to go.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With your last words, what you want to do, if you find that, stick to that, and you will find happiness, you will find money, and you will find everything with that. So,
Yes.
with this parting thoughts, thanks to viewers and thanks to ma'am to come on our platform and enrich with so much of knowledge from first of minute to the last of minute. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.